Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we praise and celebrate and hold in the light wonderful folks who are truly making a difference in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful to be here. We want to thank Wilkes Communications and RiverStreet Productions and 100.9 WIFM for this opportunity. Our featured guest today is Ms. Tabitha Hudler. She's a significant contributor at the Wilkes Community College, the Walker Center, Merlefest, and we're going to be with her. And today we're going to talk about autism also. And her family is a mom who gives and shares and cares, and her husband Jason. And we're grateful you're with us. And good morning to you, friend.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
It's an honor to have you here. You also have a great show coming up here before we know it at the Walker Center.
We sure do. On September the 21st, John Michael Montgomery, great country singer, a lot of hits in the 90s, so we're happy to have him here for the first time.
How did you find this relationship?
We do the conference at the end of September every year in our Performing Arts Consortium, and that was really where it came about. Last September was one of the agencies that we work with, and they had him on the roster, so we thought, wow, that'd be pretty cool to open our season up with, and that's where it all started.
Do you communicate with big time bands like that? Talk to them frequently leading up to?
Yeah, we do. There's a lot of middle type persons there that you're involved with. Sometimes you're in direct contact with the artist, but it's very rare. I deal with them more on site when they get here, but usually just the agencies before that.
So tell us again who and what and where and when.
Okay. John Michael Montgomery, September 21st, that's a Thursday night. Next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. The doors will open at 7, and we do still have tickets available.
Okay.
Yep.
Tabitha Hudler, your family, a key piece of it is about autism. And your husband's name's Jason, and your son's Tyler, and he's almost 10. Just get us going with that story, that life, if you will.
Sure. Yeah, every day is something we deal with, autism. And autism is just simply a communication disorder, to keep it simple. It's not your typical child or their actions based on their age levels, but with that comes lots of things that typical, which I don't like to use that word, but it's what is used, things that they may not be capable of doing. So autism, my son specifically, has some very high functioning abilities that I'll never be able to do. Just yesterday, actually, I posted on Facebook a airport hangar that he had built out of his Legos with no directions. It was three-dimensional, it was perfectly symmetrical, and you know, my mind just doesn't think that way, but his is constantly thinking that way. But then there may be, like you and I talking right now, he couldn't carry on that conversation without his little silly banter in between that I would know what it means and the people that are around him would know. But as far as a full conversation, that's not something he's capable of. So there are goods and, you know, not so good things about it.
Tabitha Hudler, let's talk about Tyler, those first 2 years, and then that special moment, if you will.
Yeah, I will. First 2 years were wonderful. We were excited, new parents, new beginning. Didn't really know what to compare it to, so thought everything was totally fine, totally normal. There were a few things that we would see, like him lining up his toys in perfect lines when he was just a baby, like a year old, which we thought nothing of, but maybe a little different, but you know, not a big deal. Or just having to have certain things at certain times. We would see that kind of repetitious behavior. But I remember the one day that it all kind of came crashing in, so to speak. And I get emotional about it every time because it's one of those real life moments that you'll never forget. But we were shopping in Haynes Mall. We were with my entire family. We go do things a lot together, mom, dad, my grandparents, my brother, his wife. And we were standing in the middle of Sears at Haynes Mall. And so Tyler had wanted to ride the escalator continuously, which kids love to do that anyway. Not really out of the ordinary. My grandfather was helping him with that while we shopped. The ladies were shopping. So he got really, really, really upset when we made him stop doing that. And I had to hold him because he was fighting me. He was slapping.
Like a meltdown.
Like a horrible, horrible meltdown.
Horrible.
He was about 2 years old when that happened, 1.5 to 2. And, you know, I knew that it was worse than a normal meltdown. It was worse than a child getting upset. And it was like we just stood there and I held him so tight and we just cried together. And I knew that I had to do something. So my dad did say to me after that, Tabitha, you know, you've really got to get this checked out. So at his physical, we put it off till he was actually 2, went for his 2-year checkup. And we told the doctor our concerns. And then while we were in the room, Tyler says, he looks at an outlet. Now he's 2 years old and he looks at an outlet that's on the wall, and it had a little sticker on it that said like V12-20. I guess it was talking about voltage, I don't know. But he said that, and we all look at each other like, what just happened? So we knew he was picking up on alphabet and different words, but we had no idea to what extent. And a 2-year-old would typically not be interested in something like that. So the doctor just looks at us and he says simply, I don't know what it is, but I know it's different. And I want you to go to Charlotte to a specialist that we're going to refer you to.
This is your local family doctor?
Yes. And I want you to get it checked out. Nothing, he's perfectly healthy. There's nothing to worry about him being healthy, but we just need to know how to help him. Okay, so we're a little discouraged, but not totally yet because we don't know what's going on. So we go down to Charlotte, and we are well, first of all, we filled out some paperwork. I forgot that. The paperwork, you had to really separate yourself from this loving mom and dad to
be objective.
Right. Like, my kid is really not doing that. He's not doing that, you know. And that's hard for a parent to accept. So we filled it out. The preschool that he was currently going to filled it out as well. They kind of took that along when we went down for the evaluation. And we were in there probably 3 hours. My mom went down with us that day, but she didn't go in the room with us. It was just me and my husband and Tyler. And, you know, there was all these questions, and it felt like the whole world was just falling down around you. But still, you thought how blessed you were because of his health. He was active. He was able to walk and run and play and do just like other boys and girls. But the communication barrier was definitely a problem.
My guest today is Tabitha Hudler, and we're talking about family and the son, Tyler, that's autistic.
Yeah.
And your husband is Jason, and we're going to, for the next 20 minutes, talk about the family love about autism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
After we went through that evaluation, that day they say to us, Tyler has autism. Jason and I had really no idea what that meant or anything about it, because a lot of people, I'm sure including the people watching this show, are unfamiliar with what it is, but it affects so many people and families. And, you know, 1 in 58 children, 1 in 42 boys actually, 1 in 189 girls. So, and there's no real answers as to why that's taking place. Throughout the pregnancy, we had a rough time. He was premature by almost 4 weeks and very small, but we didn't have any health issues after that. So we don't know, but he is what he is and who he is. And I think after we didn't realize what it was, immediately we start researching. I'm one of those people that just, I need to know. I do that about a lot of things. So if I don't know about it, I want to know about it. And I like to read. I like to go to classes or seminars or anything I can to learn about it. And every year in October, we go down to Concord to the speedway, the dragway there. They have an Autism Speaks walk in honor of the kids.
Wow.
And we've done that for the last 5 or 6 years. And it truly is just a day of a praise. It's proud. You know, you're not discouraged anymore because you know about it and you want to help your child.
It's inclusive. You know, there's people together.
It is, and you see it all around you and how many people that it really is affected throughout the United States. And North Carolina, the last I looked, was the 3rd highest state in the United States with children affected by autism. So we need to know. We're here, and we need to know what our surroundings are. And many times in public, if we do have those meltdowns, or you know, it used to be embarrassing. Now I just do what I need to do for him. And if people stare or if people say certain things, I try to ignore that. Sometimes I've just said, he's autistic, I'm sorry we've interrupted you. And they usually don't say anything, but I would ask anybody watching this to really take heed of your surroundings and just be sincere and not jump to a conclusion before you know what's going on.
So we discussed that moment of acceptance of you and Jason. Then you became advocates.
That's
then
right.
Your whole lives, I guess, changed at that moment when you said, "This is us."
It did. You think that, you know, it's horrible that your kid's not going to be like all the other kids for a little bit. And acceptance didn't just happen immediately. But I feel like Jason and I have always been supportive of each other and our families. I can't tell you how much love they show. They love Tyler so much, and it is amazing at how he's opened us all up to a new perspective. And I'm so sorry.
It's okay. One of the little things you said was that the little things, that we just, you know, you learn about the little things.
Yeah.
And even this morning you talked about before we went to school.
Yeah. We had a horrible morning. Not your typical morning. A lot of work goes into it before you get to work. Jason and I both get up at 4:30 every morning, and it's really my only quiet time of the day. Wash dishes, wash a load of clothes so that we can start the day and not be behind when we get home. But he was just not in a great mood, and the weather affects it, and the full moon affects it. All these factors play into it. Some people say that's not been proven, but if you live it, you know it. And you know, our not just our families, but our church family too. Everybody that Tyler's around accepts him because he's so full of joy. He's just happy, and he doesn't see the bad in people. He sees good. Yeah.
Tabitha Hudler, I want to now, you're going to share with us some moments, if you will. You said that he'll always address a person with first and last name. Tell us about that. That's a great skill.
It is. He loves to greet people. A few years ago, he wouldn't acknowledge anybody. So that's a step that we've taken forward. I can't believe, just looking back, every year's a difference. I told you, every 6 months I see a change of something that we were not able to do before that we can do. And I feel like all the people that are in his life showing him that support have helped along the way. And he is in the mainstream school system.
The Wilkes County schools have been
yes.
a tremendous advocate and benefactor for you.
It's been great. He actually goes to Mountain View Elementary. All the teachers there have been very, very understanding. We go to meetings and we try to stay involved as much as possible, and just so that we're all on the same page together. And I think everybody wants a child to succeed. If that's not their goal, then they need to realize what's going on. But the main goal is for those children to move on and be fully functioning citizens, and that's definitely what I want for Tyler. I have no doubt that he will be anything he wants to be.
Talk about inclusion.
Yes, inclusion is huge to me. We've experienced some things along the way where exclusion was what they thought was best. I would fight against that till the death, but including them in activities or just around people, in social settings, in the mainstream schools, has been huge for him. It teaches him those life skills that he may not have realized. And I see him putting those into action. I see him wanting to do things on his own, like fix his own sandwich or pour his own drink, or
Now, these are new things?
These are new things.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a mess to clean up. But then I'm like, well, he's trying, so I kind of just let him do it.
Doing the mayonnaise and mustard and all that.
Just, it's amazing at when he's around people and he picks up on things, he sees how you should act in certain situations. Now, he may not act that way, but if he's around it enough, I've seen those changes happen, and I think it's very important.
He loves to pray.
He loves to pray. We pray about everything, and thank goodness for it. That's all I can say. But yeah, I told you, even if he eats a potato chip, we're going to bless the food, and that's wonderful. Yeah. He worries about people that are sick. He worries about people that may not feel good, and he really picks up on facial expressions, which is actually an odd character trait for autistic children, because most of the research shows that they really don't pay attention to those cues such as tone or expression. But he is very, very in tune with that. He knows if mommy's upset, and it devastates him. He knows if mom's happy. He wants to always make sure we're happy and that we're proud of him. That makes him feel so good about himself.
Is that part of getting in the car after school, that he senses how happy mom and dad might be?
He can usually tell how the day's been, and as soon as we get there, he greets us, and then he'll say, "I'm so happy to see you." And, that's, you want your kid to say that. I hope he always says that, because I know we'll get into those teenage years pretty soon, but he's just such a special person to be around.
He has a birthday coming up soon, and you were sharing about how we're going to deal with this. So tell us about his birthday.
His birthday is next week, a week from Sunday, September 24th. He's going to be 10 years old. We still can't believe that, but I'm so happy of where he's at in his life right now. He's picked up on his personality and his sense of humor and what makes people laugh, which is not always good, but it's good to see him being able to figure that out. And, we do hold that party over his head if he's misbehaving, just, to remind him good behavior equals this. So rewards, he responds really well to that, as long as it's something that he has that he really likes. He loves to go to Walmart. It's his favorite place in the whole world, and Village Inn is his favorite food. So usually he'll pick that to do on a fun day.
Wow. Tabitha Hudler, her husband Jason, and we're talking about family autism.
We are.
And that Dr. Stedman said he's autistic
He did.
at that moment. A key role his grandparents are playing in his development. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, I've been able to have all my grandparents around my whole life, and they still are, and they're still a huge part of our lives. My parents and Jason's parents both have accepted Tyler, and they know that maybe they couldn't discipline him like us, but it took a while. It took a while to understand exactly how to handle things, and we actually are all still learning because every day is a little different. But my grandparents have been keeping Tyler since I went back to work after maternity leave, and they kept him during the day when he was a baby, and then he went to preschool and they'd pick him up. And now he's in elementary school, and they pick him up after school, and then I go get him after work. But it's been a huge factor, I think, just learning Tyler. And when families are not together on things and not supportive and are afraid, it really, really hinders relationships. But he has done nothing but bring everybody closer.
You said the great joy and the blessing is beyond description. You've told me that before.
Yeah, it is.
He's a great speller and reader.
He is. That's definitely a strength of his. He could read anything you put in front of him. It doesn't matter what level it's at. He'll read the word, and if he doesn't know the word, he will sound it out just like it's spelled. So I think that he's learned a lot from reading. He relates life skills to some of the stories he's read, or if he's on the computer and he goes to YouTube to look at Thomas the Train or Lightning McQueen or Disney Cars, whatever it is, those things that those trains go through, he relates to. There's one book that comes to mind. It's called Thomas Breaks a Promise. So Tyler knows that.
Thomas Breaks a Promise?
Yeah. So he has read that, and he absorbs everything he reads. It's like a sponge. He can recite it back, word for word, expression for expression, without missing a beat. And if I'm reading the story and he's not even looking at it, and I miss a word, he'll be like, "You mean," and he'll tell me the word I missed, without even looking at the story.
Oh, Tabitha.
Yeah, it's wild.
Wow.
But he will, he'll say, "We don't break a promise, Mom." I'm like, "That's right. When we tell somebody something, we keep that." So that really helps him to understand things.
At the school, we have every year an IEP plan for exceptional children, and so we go through that. And he loves water.
Loves it, yeah. Any kind of swimming, water balloons, water fights, whatever water, he's going to find it. We have a house up in Ashe County that we love to visit, especially during the summertime, and that's actually where he wanted his party at this time. So there's a creek that runs behind the house, and he absolutely loves it. He'll stay in there for hours, no matter what the temperature of the water is. And he loves to throw rocks in it, and he pretends he's fishing. So it's just a good thing. It's a sensory thing for him.
He's also a computer whiz.
Yeah, unreal. I know kids this day and time are all good at computers because that's what the whole world is, but he can operate a iPad, a laptop, get my cell phone, and be doing something all at once on 3 different things without missing a beat. And I truly think that he'll end up in something with computers one day. I know that, he may be a programmer. Whatever he does, I'm going to be there to support him. And I love to see him happy, and I love to see him feel good about what he's doing. And with that computer too, when he couldn't really write, when he couldn't use a pen and pencil or pencil and paper at school, we were able in his IEP to put where he could type things, and he could type stories, you know, without writing them when he wasn't able to write them, but he could prove that he could do it.
Tabitha Hudler with Wilkes Community College and autism. And what I just can't tell you what you've enriched my life today, and I'm sure everyone that's going to be watching this. So I want you to do one other thing before we kind of wind down about going to the theater.
Yeah.
I just thought that was, you can frame that to where everyone can understand.
Yeah. One of Tyler's favorite things to do is to visit the movie theater. The very first time we went was only maybe 2 years ago, because I was afraid to take him because he couldn't sit still or he couldn't be quiet. People around you interrupting them. So we have to look out for several things like that. But he loves to go. He sits in the same seat every time we go. He always gets popcorn and a soft drink because Mom doesn't allow soft drinks that much, and that's a reward for him. And he always gets gummy bears. So we try to take him to kid-friendly movies. My grandparents were able to do that during the summer with the movie program that the theater does, and we will do it from time to time on the weekends. But it's just a fun experience for him to be able to do something that other kids are doing.
Ms. Hudler, as we highlight Tyler today and what a blessing he is and has been and will be, and we've talked about Mountain View School, we've talked about grandparents, we've talked about you and your husband, Jason. I think I've learned that day that you went to Tyler rather than expecting Tyler to maybe change for you.
Right.
Things started to work, and you've made a great team, the three of you becoming. Tell us about the blessings in life of having Tyler.
I would say that number one, it's just taught us to look at life in a whole new view. When you think things are horrible and out of hand, then you look at others and you think, wow, we're not experiencing that, we're not going through that. He has just taught us how to be happy and to be together and to be a team and to learn how to overcome things that just by how they relate to us. You don't have to do things the way that they've always been done. And he just opens up new opportunities. I recite this over and over as obstacles bring opportunities, and they do.
Tabitha Hudler, thank you for blessing us today in such a special way. And we want to thank Wilkes Communications and RiverStreet Productions and WIFM and John Michael Murphy. Let's highlight him again before we leave.
Yep. On September the 21st, Thursday night, 7:30, John Michael Montgomery at the Walker Center. Give us a call. Go to walkercenteronline.org and we'll help you out.
What an honor to have you with us, and God is going to bless all of us as we give and share and care and serve God. Thank you.
Thank you.